We say we hate arrogant people, but when Gojo claims he's the strongest and goes on and on about how much more powerful he is than everyone else, we think it's incredible. When Cristiano Ronaldo says this,
Are you the best footballer in the world right now?
I think so, yes. In my mind, I'm always the best. I don't care what the people are thinking, what they say. In my mind, not just this year, but always, I'm always the best.
and then in the game, he does this. You can't help but think it's absolutely badass, because they all talk big, but deliver even bigger. Think about Escanor. The guy literally weaponized arrogance as his power. He looks at Estarossa and says he's the one who decides things here, as if reality itself is just a suggestion he can refuse, and we love it. Or take Gojo at the beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen. He shows up saying he's the strongest, with that little smirk, that confidence. But up to that point, we haven't seen him do anything yet. But when he goes to Shibuya and needs to defeat all those curses in fractions of a second, we realize he wasn't exaggerating, he was being exact. So here's the question: why are we drawn to characters like this? Why does arrogance, which should irritate us, actually fascinate us instead? What's the real difference between admirable confidence and ridiculous arrogance? And more importantly, how do you use this in real life without looking like an idiot? Well, before we get into examples, we need to understand what's happening in our heads when we see someone arrogant. Let's be honest here, we don't like arrogance itself. What we like is what it conveys: extreme confidence, unshakable certainty, and natural authority. Robert Greene talked about this in The Laws of Human Nature. Humans are hardwired to admire what they don't have. Evolutionarily, we're always seeking more: resources, status, power, confidence. When someone demonstrates a confidence we don't have the courage to express ourselves, we admire it. Escanor isn't just physically strong. He represents an internal certainty that most of us will never have. He doesn't doubt. He doesn't hesitate. He simply is. And that hits us because deep down, everyone wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to wake up doubting themselves. Nobody wants to walk into a room afraid of being judged. Well-executed arrogance is the materialization of a fantasy we all carry: being so secure in yourself that nothing shakes you. But here's the crucial detail: arrogance only works when it comes with performance. And that's exactly what separates the characters we love from those we ridicule. Let me show you this in practice, because this is where it all makes sense. I'll give you two examples of soccer players that explain this perfectly. Nicklas Bendtner was a Danish player who saw himself as one of the best strikers in the world. He said this openly in several interviews. The problem is that while he considered himself an elite player on the same level as the world's best, this is what he did on the field. Completely mediocre performances, and that's being generous. The result? He became a joke. People started calling him Lord Bendtner. Now take Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Extremely arrogant. Talks way more than Bendtner. The difference is that when he said he was going to score in a match, he did. He talked a lot, but delivered much more. The difference isn't the level of arrogance, it's the delivery. And this works exactly the same in anime. Gojo keeps saying he's the strongest. Then he goes out and proves it. Sukuna, from the very beginning of the anime, is treated as the king of curses, capable of destroying everyone. Then he literally destroys an entire city fighting Maharaga. They're not lying. The formula is simple. Ultra confidence equals talk plus action. Cringe equals talk minus action. When you talk a lot and do little, you become Ebisu from Naruto. Remember him? The elite tutor who got knocked out by Naruto's sexy jutsu. Or Mr. Satan from Dragon Ball, who proclaims himself the strongest man on earth. But next to the Z fighters, he's literally nothing. Now when you talk a lot and do 10 times more, you become a legend. But there's something deeper happening here. It's not just about results, it's about how this confidence affects everyone around. There's something that happens when someone demonstrates real confidence. The people around them change their behavior. When Escanor enters pride mode, even the most powerful enemies hesitate, because confidence generates an energy that's felt. It's not about muscles. It's not about raw power. It's about presence, body language, the way he speaks, the rhythm of his words, eye contact. Everything communicates. I know who I am. I know what I do, and you don't scare me. This is completely different from empty arrogance. Mr. Satan also talks loud, also gestures, also tries to dominate the scene. But when things get tough, he runs, because deep down, he knows it's a facade. Real arrogance, the kind we admire, isn't performance, it's identity. Escanor isn't pretending to be powerful. He is powerful. Gojo isn't trying to intimidate. He simply isn't intimidated. And this affects us because we detect authenticity. Our brain is trained to identify who's real and who's bluffing. And when someone is real, even if they're irritatingly confident, we respect it. But if confidence and arrogance seem so similar, how do we differentiate one from the other? Because there is a line. and it's important. Arrogance and confidence come from the same place, but with one essential difference. Confidence is internal. Arrogance is reactive. The confident person doesn't need to prove anything. They know what they know. They've done the work. They have the results. When someone questions them, they don't panic. They simply show. The arrogant person, on the other hand, needs to assert themselves, needs to talk loud, needs to dominate the conversation, because deep down, they're afraid of being exposed. It's the difference between Gojo and Buggy from One Piece. Gojo says he's the strongest, and he is. He doesn't need to shout, doesn't need to humiliate. He just exists with that certainty, and everyone feels it. Buggy talks like he's a legendary pirate, but when he faces someone serious, he becomes a joke. He got his titles through misunderstandings, through luck, through being in the right place, but he himself knows he doesn't have what he pretends to have. And here's the most important part for you to apply in real life. You should only be arrogant when you master the subject. If you're new to the environment, if you haven't built a reputation yet, if you're still learning, be humble. Not because humility is pretty, but because arrogance without foundation generates rejection. Now, if you're good at what you do, if you've already proven yourself, if you have the results, don't be afraid to state it. Not with performative arrogance, but with natural confidence. And this is where things get a bit complicated, because there's a price to pay when you demonstrate real confidence. When you demonstrate real confidence, some people will admire you, others will envy you, and envy is dangerous because admiration and envy are almost the same thing, just on different poles. The same person who admires your confidence might start sabotaging you if they feel you're too perfect. This is in the laws of power. Don't appear too perfect. Gojo, for example, is admired by his students, but he's also feared and politically isolated by the higher-ups because he's too powerful, and insecure people hate those who make them feel small. So the strategy is, show small flaws. Be human. Make mistakes occasionally. Laugh at yourself. This generates identification and reduces envy. Escanor has this perfect balance. During the day, he's unbeatable. At night, he's fragile. This makes him loved, not just feared. Cristiano Ronaldo does this too. He says he's the best, but he also posts videos training every single day, maintaining an extremely strict diet. He shows the effort, and that humanizes his confidence. Actually, that's one difference I see between him and Messi. Cristiano is more recognized for this idea of hard work, of effort, this kind of Rock Lee mentality. Meanwhile, when people talk about Messi, they attribute his results more to talent, to his genius, as if he doesn't have to work hard too, and they talk as if Cristiano Ronaldo has no talent at all. Because of all this, even though Cristiano talks way more than Messi, he also shows himself as more human. Alright, but what about you? How do you use this without looking like an idiot? Because in theory, it's easy. The hard part is applying it day to day. First, build competence before you talk. Work in the dark. Train when nobody's watching. Accumulate internal evidence that you're capable. I actually made a video here on the channel specifically about Gojo and his confidence. I highly recommend you watch it. But the point here is that even though Gojo is special, he also had to train to become unbeatable. He didn't just wake up one day and decide to be confident. As his abilities increased, confidence came naturally. Second, speak with confidence, not desperation. There's a huge difference between "I'm good at this" and "I'm the best and nobody can beat me." One is a statement, the other is insecurity in disguise. Notice how Escanor speaks. He's firm, but he's not shouting. His confidence is calm because it's real. Third, deliver results. Always. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you promise something, deliver. Because confidence doesn't come from talking. It comes from doing repeatedly until nobody doubts anymore. Sukuna doesn't need to prove he's dangerous all the time. He proved it once, and everyone remembers. Fourth, don't justify yourself constantly. Confident people don't keep explaining every decision. They make decisions and move forward. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, they adjust and move on. Gojo rarely explains why he did something. He simply does it because he trusts his own judgment. And lastly, choose your moments. Don't be that person who's always trying to prove something. Be selective. Use your confidence when it matters. In a presentation, in a negotiation, in a decisive moment. Outside of that, be chill, be easy, because true confidence doesn't need to be on 24 hours a day. So going back to the beginning, why do we love arrogant people? Because we don't love the arrogance. We love the certainty. We love people who know who they are, who do what they say, who don't tremble when the moment comes. And when that comes with a bit of arrogance, we accept it, because it's part of the package. Escanor wouldn't be Escanor without that. Who decided that? Gojo wouldn't be Gojo without that mocking smirk. Sukuna wouldn't be Sukuna without that absolute coldness. They're loved because they're arrogant, not despite it. But it only works because they deliver. At the end of the day, arrogance is just confidence either poorly calibrated or well executed. If you talk and don't do, you become a joke. But if you talk and do 10 times more, that's when you become a legend.